Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking a super fascinating look into the MQL5 Reference Manual, specifically Chapter 15. We're talking about giving your automated trading algorithm, well, eyes. You know, writing code to just buy or sell is one thing, right? But your robot actually needs to be able to read and understand the dynamic market environment around it. And honestly, that is exactly what the MarketInfo functions are built to do.
Okay, let's dive right into this. How does an algorithm actually see the market? Think about the problem for a second. A trading robot operating blindly, without pulling the correct data, isn't just guessing. It's basically throwing darts blindfolded, in a pitch-black room. I mean, it doesn't know what assets are even available, it doesn't know the current price, and it definitely doesn't know the specific rules of the broker. So, to make any sort of intelligent decision, it absolutely needs a continuous, highly structured feed of market information.
So, to fix that blind spot, we're following a macro to micro roadmap today. First up, discovering available symbols. Second, unlocking symbol properties. Third, catching live price ticks. And finally, reading the order book.
Section 1. Discovering available symbols. Imagine your MetaTrader terminal is a massive library. Now, before you can sit down and read, you kind of need to know what books are actually on the shelves, right? Well, this discovery process in MQL5 is beautifully simple. First, you use a function called SymbolsTotal, and that tells your robot exactly how many books or, financial instruments exist in your broker's library. Then you step through that list using symbol name to read the spines. This allows your algorithm to dynamically scan for assets like EUR/USD or gold, instead of having those names rigidly hard-coded into your program.
Section 2. Unlocking symbol properties.
Now, what's really interesting is what happens after we've picked out a book. We need to read its specific publishing details, because every single financial instrument has unique trading rules and properties that your robot absolutely must know before it tries to execute a trade. MQL5 categorizes these rules so elegantly. You essentially have 3 distinct functions to fetch these static properties, and it's all based on the data type you're looking for. You use SymbolInfo integer for whole numbers, like symbol digits, to get the decimal precision. You use SymbolInfo double for floating point numbers, like pulling the current symbol bid price. And then you use SymbolInfo string for text data, like figuring out the symbol currency _ base.
Just to really highlight the stark contrast here, if you're pulling a numerical value, like the SYMBL ask price, that requires a double. Why? Because prices have decimal fractions. But if your robot needs to know foundational text data, like whether it's trading EUR or USD, it has to request that specifically as a string property. Using the right function for the exact right data type is absolutely essential, otherwise your code just isn't going to compile.
And let me tell you why this matters in the real world. Ignore symbol trade stops level at your own risk. This is an integer property, and it tells you the absolute minimal indentation in points that your broker requires to place a stop loss or take profit. If your robot forgets to check this property and tries to place a stop too close to the current price, the broker's server will instantly reject that automated order. It literally leaves your robot stranded, and you're just left scratching your head wondering what went wrong.
Section 3. Catching live price ticks.
So, we've looked at the static library catalog. Now let's shift gears and look at the actual pulse of the market, reading the words as they are being written live. The absolute lifeblood of any active trading algorithm is the MQL-Tick structure. The MQL5 reference defines it as a structure storing the latest prices of a symbol, and it's specifically designed for lightning-fast retrieval of current info without ever having to dig through historical time series data. When the market twitches, this structure is exactly what your robot feels.
So what is actually inside this thing? When you call SymbolInfoTick, boom, you instantly get a snapshot. You get the last update time, you get the current bid price, the current ask price. It also pulls the price of the last deal, the volume for that specific last price, the time down to the precise millisecond, and tick flags. It's an unbelievable amount of real-time data packed into one rapid-fire request.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how highly optimized MQL5 really is, because the MQL-Tick structure fills in all those parameters even if only one tiny thing changed, right? So how do you know what actually triggered the update? Well, you look at the tick flags. Flags like tick_flag bid or tick_flag ask let your robot know precisely which specific data point caused that brand new tick to be generated in the first place.
Section 4. Reading the order book.
All right, now we are looking way beyond the current price and getting a peek into the market's rough draft notes, and there is a massive difference between what we just looked at and what we're talking about now. Standard tick data, that's level 1. It only shows you the single best bid and ask price at that exact second. But level 2 data, the depth of market, shows you the actual queue of all pending market orders waiting to be filled at various price levels. It's literally the difference between just seeing the front door and seeing the entire crowd waiting outside.
So to access that crowd, your robot has to follow 3 vital steps. First, it uses MarketBook Add to actively subscribe to those depth of market events. Second, it uses MarketBook Get to take a snapshot of that order queue, reading it directly into an array. And third, like a good, polite citizen, it absolutely must use MarketBook Release to unsubscribe and close the book when it's done. You've got to free up those terminal resources.
So, the crucial point is, what do you actually get back? Well, the MarketBook Get function fills an array of MQL book info structures. Each little element in this structure reveals the specific direction of a pending order, like book type sell or book type buy. It also gives you the requested price and the exact order volume. This gives your algorithm just incredible insight into upcoming market pressure. I mean, it literally allows your code to act before the current price even moves.
But wait, we do have to highlight a very, very important limitation directly from the reference manual. Quote, "The DOM is available only for some symbols. You have got to code defensively here. Not every broker provides depth of market data, and definitely not every asset supports it. Your expert advisor should always mathematically verify that this level 2 data is actually arriving before you go and base an entire trading strategy on it."
And wow, that brings us to the end of our journey today. We've gone from the macro level of discovering symbols in a massive library, drilling down to reading their specific properties, catching live, lightning-fast price ticks, and finally, reading the deepest level 2 order book. Giving your algorithm these eyes is exactly what transforms a simple, basic script into a highly aware, incredibly sharp trading machine. So, from discovery to the deepest order book, what will your newly aware MQL5 robot conquer first? Keep learning, keep coding, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.